I'm I'm still having to really recalibrate my golf game, just because I'm hitting it further. It's 25 minutes 3 times a week. It's great because a lot of us just don't have enough time.
You're on your 80th workout. What have your workouts been like before AXIUS? And then how does this kind of compare to that?
I've, I've been a, off and on workout, then stop for a good while. And some of that has to do with life getting in the way. Some of it just has to do with these ailments I have. Me being 57 years old and a former college soccer player with 2 ACLs and a bad shoulder and, you know, some history of back problems. Once I hit 50, as I was getting older, I was hitting the ball shorter. I was hurting more, at the end of rounds. And, I was on a spiral towards the senior tees, basically, is where I was going. And so I decided I needed to do something when I ran into Panos,
And Pano's
and
one of our customers.
playing in a member guest at Palmetto. And he's I think he's 5 years older than me. And he was just smashing the golf ball. And so I was like, man, what are you doing to generate that kind of club head speed and just force and power? And he was like, oh, yeah, I got something, and so he sent me a link, but I never started it because I was doing this other thing and I was kind of locked into that. I don't even know if I'm going to have time to do this, or am I going to do both of them, or what am I going to do? So I continued on my other program and I kind of plateaued. I also started feeling a lot of limitations in the exercises from the injury pieces, from the knees, from the shoulder, from the low back. And that's when I called you guys back and I was like, all right, let's give this thing a whirl.
What other things were you hoping to see improve in your golf game? Have you seen any direct correlations?
The golf game's improved. Really, my biggest problem right now with my golf game is I'm having to figure out how to recalibrate because of the improvement. At my home course, there's a lot more holes where I'm, pulling out a 3 wood or pulling out a 5 wood, or, where I was just driver the whole time. And now I'm trying to figure out, all right, the distances have changed and I've got to recalibrate my whole golf game. The last time I did my baseline started in January. I was hitting my 7 iron 148-ish. And then when I revisited that iron and those numbers in early May, it was like 165. Those recalibrations are now, they continue to increase. And I'm having to, it's a great problem to have, especially when you're 57 and trying not to go into senior shaft and all that. But
Were there any specific kind of issues or things that you battled in your swing?
finishing, you know, standing on that left foot and finishing and getting through the ball and not stopping. But I didn't realize until I started the workouts that some of it's physical, that, finishing the swing and getting through the ball, it wasn't comfortable. It's just my body just didn't want to do it. It was like my swing ended about, kind of a half turn up, and that's just kind of where it ended. Whereas now I can really go through the ball and really feel like I stand up and finish. I'm putting myself in different positions in my swing that I just couldn't get to. My flexibility is better. I can turn more. I can turn through more. It continues to get better and better week by week. And it's not just a golf thing. It's just like getting up out of a chair, getting up off a couch, getting out of bed, whatever it is. I feel like I've built a decent amount of muscle around those joints where I have those limitations, and I'm moving a lot better.
I had activated a 2 week free trial. I believe you went through that, right? You went through the non-equipment 2 weeks first, and then you got into the equipment. So what was your experience like the first 2 weeks?
I think the initial exercises, there's a little bit of you're kind of saying, well, this thing's all about form, but I really like, what am I? You have to trust it because you're going through these exercises. Your coach is reviewing and saying, well, your back's rounded, it's not flat enough, your hips are sagging and all this, and you're like, yeah, but when is this really gonna turn into something that's gonna wear me out? But you just have to let it work. You just got to like work it and let it work you through the process. But I'll tell you, the device is the game changer. I fondly call it the Death Star. But the exercises you can do without the device, and then you plug the device in, like a push up, it's just a game changer because it engages so many more muscles to keep the lights green, as opposed to just doing a push up or doing a plank or whatever it is. You can literally feel your body having to do so much more work to keep this plate level while you're doing these things. And I mean, the science better than me, but I think that from a progression standpoint, you get more out of it and improvement quicker by using the device as opposed, and that's probably why I'm getting more out of this than I was, say, my other workouts. My other workouts were golf related. There's no way I was engaging the same amount of top to bottom core that I'm engaging now.
So really the kind of components or the science and how it relates to almost the technology, the way that we set up the system, the equipment that's really focusing on your balance, right? And your balance is challenging your stabilizer muscles, your smaller muscles in your body. It's very easy to skip over those. Before we get to the equipment where we're focused on balance, what we're focused on is body angles, right? Like in those initial exercises where we're not using the equipment, and that has a lot to do with your big word coming here for the science geeks, proprioception, or your awareness of body in three-dimensional space. The best athletes in the world have this in spades, right? It's why a wide receiver could jump up in the NFL, make an unbelievable catch with two guys in his face, right? Like, because he has great body awareness. Right. Most of us, we have limited amount of body awareness. So just the ability to get into certain positions, then you could start building stability in those positions. And then the third part, and this is really where the coach is very helpful, is activation or recruitment of the proper muscles, right? So once we're in the right position, are you engaging? We call it three parts of the core, where we're really looking at the upper core. We're talking about your shoulder blades, your upper abs. The mid core, we're talking about your abs, your obliques, the sides. And the lower core, we're really focused on the glutes and the hips and the lower abs. And you've seen, as you get further up in our progression system and our ladder, we apply it to more, movements like burpees and plyometric exercises. And, you'll continue to kind of unlock new movements, how they relate to making sure that you have a strong functional foundation.
And what I've learned through doing it, as my form's gotten better, my workouts have gotten harder. And the way I treat AXIUS is like HIIT training. When you guys say the session should be 25 minutes, I try to keep it at 25 minutes. When I'm done with that 25 minutes, I'm gassed.
Well, and that's, you're 100% right. That's the rub. And what may not make sense to people before they start a program like this, but what we're doing in the system is we're trying to help our customers access their own bodies better, recruit more muscles that we typically don't use, or it's very easy to skip over during normal forms of working out or training, or even activity, right? Just walking around day to day. It's not easy to use or recruit our abs and our glutes. We put such a hyper focus on getting you to recruit those muscles first, and the difficulty early on, or the challenge of some of the positions, are relatively light. We have like level 1s and level 2s in the program. They're intended to be light so that you can get into the positions, and we're really hyper focused on you getting the right form so that you're able to recruit those muscles in those various positions better. But the rub is that once you start doing that, we know that you're capable of a lot more because you can stabilize your body in more challenging positions. So you're exactly right. Unfortunately, the workouts get harder, but that's only because you're using your body better. You referred this to a number of customers. Right. What do you tell people why they should do it? Is it more for golf performance, more for the body in general?
It's literally, my peers who are my age who are going, my God, I've got to do something. I can't, I can't hit the ball as far as I was hitting. I'm getting tired in the middle of my golf round. Just generally in life, I've got to find something I can do without spending 2 hours a day in the gym, driving there, driving back, and having a personal trainer or whatever. And like we've talked about before, everybody's limited on time, and here's a workout where you can get a ton out of it. This is it. You can get what you need, and this is something you can do. And some of my buddies are getting they're getting pushed by their better half. My wife's telling me I've got to do something. What are you doing? And so, it's a really good answer for people at my stage of life.